My name is Scott Challoner, and you are listening to the Leaders Council podcast for the people who run the country and the people who keep the country running. Now, as our regular listeners will know very well, part of our mission here at the Leaders Council is to bring you a variety of distinct perspectives on leadership. And to this end, we're joined on today's programme by Carri Walters, Director for Blossom Home Care Ltd, a family business which has delivered care to individuals within their own homes and also within their communities in the North Yorkshire area since 2015. Carri, a very warm welcome to you today, and by all means, thank you for joining us on the programme.
Morning.
Good morning, Carri. Pleasure having you. And you have worked for Blossom Home Care since 2016, haven't you? So been with the company for quite a long time, almost since the very beginning. I've obviously only given a very brief background of what it is that the company actually does, but if you could just expand upon that for those that aren't aware of you and what you do, what is it that you'd say that Blossom Home Care specialises in, within your own words, please?
Yeah, so we're a home care company that delivers community support to the elderly and vulnerable. We also specialise in learning disabilities. We look after anybody with sensory impairments, any types of disability really. We also help enable people, individuals that have maybe had, let's say, like stroke or something like that. We try and enable them back to how they were before they'd had a stroke or anything like that. So we specialise in that area as well.
Absolutely. So plenty, of course, on your plate then, I suppose it's fair to say. And I think it's also fair to say that you've been on quite the journey, haven't you, since joining the business? You started out as a deputy manager, that obviously ended up holding a number of managerial roles within the business before going and starting your own franchise under the Blossom brand. So for you personally, I suppose I'd like to get an idea of what that journey was like for you. I can imagine it must have been very interesting.
It was definitely very rewarding as well. But yeah, it's been good going from deputy manager to being a registered manager, then holding a dual registration over two of the Blossom Home Care Ltd offices for John and Fiona. And then obviously they'd gone into the franchise and I'd moved over to that side, and then opening my own franchise in Harrogate. But yeah, learned a lot along the way.
And I can imagine you have learned quite a lot as well, haven't you? Because I suppose the franchising process for the business would have started around the same time as COVID was coming about. So a lot of disruption during that, and you've still managed to get it off the ground and do really, really well with it. Yeah,
definitely. They did very, very surprisingly well, really. I mean, within like the first 6 to 8 months, they'd got I think it was 4 offices. At least, definitely within the first year, we'd got them up and running, trained, and they were off. So yeah, they did really well.
And just looking at the current state of the franchising side of things, there's 8 currently out there under the Blossom brand, 6 of them operational and 2 in the pipeline. So it's just incredible, isn't it, just how well that's rolled out, hasn't it? Even considering the disruption at the to start with, you've managed to sort of get your heads down, sort of get through all of the disruption of COVID and sort of make it a real success, it seems.
Yeah, definitely. And there's loads of inquiries coming through all the time. There's loads of sessions always being held with interviews. I mean, John and Fiona are always meeting with people, having meetings over Zoom and then face-to-face meetings. So it's all go all the time.
Certainly seems the case, and I can imagine that their support in sort of helping with the franchising side, that's probably been a big help, isn't it? I can imagine that sort of having started with them when they were sort of building the business, then moving into that franchising side and kind of building up your own franchise under that brand. I can imagine their support and their counsel, their guidance, that's probably been sort of really important for you, hasn't it, during this journey?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially when I started starting my own franchise, their support has been phenomenal. I mean, with giving support, working around me, allowing me to have my own time out of my own original job, to be able to do that has been amazing. I mean, we've worked alongside each other for so long now. I think it's been second to none, really. Giving me time to do what I need to do, and then me doing what I need to do for them on the days that I'm able to do that.
And I can imagine as well that when it came to heading up your own franchise, it was probably good that you'd kind of had the managerial experience within the business originally to sort of kind of back yourself up with, wasn't it? Because that's probably helped you sort of adapt into your new role that little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's been a roller coaster of a ride, but it's been good. It's a good job. I like roller coasters. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can imagine as well that, like, with regards to what's happened over the last couple of years as well, I mean, you're almost kind of ready for anything now, aren't you? Almost in a care sector role, anything that kind of gets thrown at you. I mean, you probably feel so much more kind of resilient given the experiences that you've had over the last couple of years. And like I say, you must feel like you can take on the world and feel like that you've been armed with a lot of knowledge and a lot of sort of learnings and lessons from this experience you've had.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's always learning every day. There's plenty of things that I don't know that I'm willing to learn. But yeah, there's a lot of things that I've also picked up along the way, which is it's been good.
And with regards to the actual franchise side, we've talked an awful lot about sort of how that's come about, but when you were kind of, sitting down with sort of Fiona and John and talking about the future of the business, what was it that kind of motivated you to kind of go down the franchising route, would you say? What was kind of the idea behind it?
I think it's because I really, even though I'm a director on the Blossom Home Care Ltd side, it's not, at the end of the day, it's not really mine. It's not something that I can say that I own. And I wanted a piece of Blossom that's actually mine, something that I can call my own. And I think that was what spurred me on, really. And the fact that I help a lot of people to fulfill their own dreams of having a franchise and being able to spread the good brand of Blossom around the UK. So I thought, why not? Why not have that little piece of something? So that's why me and my partner sat down and thought and had a discussion about it. Because I mean, without him, I wouldn't be able to do this at all. Because I didn't want to. I didn't want to resign from the position that I've got within Blossom. I want to keep doing that job role. And so I know I wouldn't have been able to do both of them at the same time. So he said, well, I'll stop doing what I'm doing. I'll resign from my position at work and I'll come and help and I'll work in the office alongside an RM. So, and with your input, then would be able to do this. So why not? So that's what we did. We purchased a territory. He's finishing with his job role where he is, and he's moving over into the office with we've employed an RM. So he's going to work alongside her and run the office day to day with my input, coming in and out, and me still doing the job role that I'm doing on the franchise side alongside John and Fiona, still employing, or not employing, but bringing in more franchisees to still spread the brand around the UK and training them. So I'm getting the best of both worlds, really.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it, that you've still got a hand in the core business as well as on the franchise side. Must feel absolutely fantastic. And I guess it must have been sort of an incredibly emotional time in a positive way, of course, when, your own franchise was up and running, because I suppose that was finding that little piece of the business that was yours, that you built up yourself, and must have felt like a real moment of accomplishment for you when that was all got started.
Yeah, definitely.
And I suppose as well, it's a real story of the importance of support from others, isn't it? It just goes to show that when you're starting a business, I mean, you can go out and try to do it all on your own, but the support, counsel and advice of others, it's so important, isn't it? And it is difficult to try and get it all off the ground by yourself. And you've obviously done it with the support of Jonathan and Fiona, you've done it with the support of your partner, and that's helped sort of give rise to all of this success.
Yeah, definitely. It is so much better to have a good, strong team behind you, because there's no way I could have done any of this without them.
And just considering that you have gone out there and done it and built up your own sort of corner of the business, let's say, for anybody out there who might be tuning into this that's, got their own big idea, maybe considering starting a business of their own, what kind of advice would you give them, Carri, to really sort of get them off the ground and get on that road to success? What are the key things from sort of your perspective to really heed?
It's just definitely get themselves a good set of a good team behind them. Make sure they've got a clear view of what they want. Don't go into something half-hearted. Definitely make sure that you know what you want, what you want to go for, and just make sure you plan, put things in place, and then just go for it.
Exactly right. And I think you've got to want it enough, haven't you, as well? And that's why it's got to be something that you're passionate about, because you've been willing, for instance, to actually go and work 2 jobs while you were building up your side of the business and really show that commitment. And that's just an example, isn't it, of what it takes to really get a successful business off the ground.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, important words for anybody to heed that's tuning into this that may well be considering starting their own business. And just to remind you as well, if you are tuning in and happen to run a business of your own or head an organisation yourself, then you too can come and share your story with us at the Leaders Council on our podcast via leaderscouncil.co.uk/apply, where you can apply to be on the show and come and share that account with us. Before we do wrap up, though, however, Carri, I do want to talk a little bit about the future as well, because with your franchise now off the ground and the business itself still thriving in a core sense, I suppose over the next year, you've got plenty of plans and ambitions for the future and where you'd like your franchise and the overall business to be, even though, we're still trying to navigate some challenging times with the cost of living crisis as it is and some of the global forces that are in play.
Yeah. So we've got, the territory that I have purchased from John and Fiona, it's big enough to have more than one office in it. So hopefully in about 12 to 18 months, we will be looking at opening a second office and then maybe a third office in about 3 years' time. Looking to expand my territory.
It'd be fantastic, wouldn't it, to really roll out the business even further now that you've got it up off the ground, and really do wish you the best of luck in the world, Carri, and really executing that to full effect. And might be good even to catch up and have you back on the show at some point in the next few months just to see how it's all coming along for you, and hopefully it's there'll be some positive stories to share by that point in time as well.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been fantastic. Thank you ever so much for your time today, Carri, on the programme, and I hope you thoroughly enjoyed the interview. And by all means, thank you, and stay safe with all still going on in the world as well.
And you. Thank you very much for having me.
And I do hope that everybody tuning into the programme today thoroughly enjoyed the interview with Carri Walters from Blossom Home Care. And if you, as I say, do wish to come and share your story with us on the Leaders Council podcast as well, then at leaderscouncil.co.uk/apply would be the correct port of call. Until next time, to every single one of our listeners, you have been tuning in to the Leaders Council podcast, the podcast for the people who run the country and the people who keep the country running. Please take care and goodbye.